They say every building has a secret, a story etched into its very foundation. But in this particular building, the secret isn't just a story. It's a place that hides in plain sight, tucked between the 6th and 8th floor. The elevator, you see, it has a rule. It never stops at 7. Ever. And the residents know that if, by some impossible chance, it does, you should never have her step out. Ryan didn't know the rules. He was new, drawn in by the allure of cheap rent in a city that never sleeps. He saw the peeling paint and the dimly lit hallways, not as warnings, but as character. A perfect blank slate for someone desperate to start over. Talan Lor, a wary-looking man with eyes that had seen too much, gave him a single, cryptic piece of advice as he handed over the keys. "It's a good apartment," he'd said, his voice low. "Just, when you use the elevator, never press between 6 and 8. That floor, it doesn't exist anymore." Ryan had just nodded, dismissing it as the rambling of an old man. A harmless quirk. In a quirky old building, he couldn't have been more wrong. His first night was unsettlingly quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavy. He was coming back late, the city's neon glow a distant memory. He stepped into the ancient, rickety elevator, the metallic scent of old machinery filling the small space. He pressed the button for his floor, number 8. The doors groaned shut, and the ascent began. It was just after midnight when the single bulb overhead began to flicker violently. The elevator car shuddered, groaned, and then with a final, jarring jolt, it stopped. The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the frantic thumping of his own heart. He looked at the display panel, expecting to see a 6, or maybe it had just given up entirely, but the number glowing in the dim light was impossible. 7. The air grew cold, a soft, melodic asterisk ding asterisk echoed in the confined space, and the old metal doors began to creak open. He held his breath. Behind them lay a corridor, shrouded in a darkness so complete it seemed to swallow the light from the elevator. And with the darkness came a smell, the faint, acrid scent of smoke and old ash, a smell like a distant, forgotten fire. Curiosity, that fatal human flaw, got the better of him. He reasoned it must be a power glitch, a wiring issue. The 7th floor probably just housed old storage units or was under renovation. He stepped out, his footsteps echoing unnervingly down the long, silent hallway. The air here was different. Colder, heavier, pressing in on him. He ran a hand along the wall. The wallpaper was brittle, crumbling to dust at his touch. Every door he passed was sealed shut, painted over, as if to deny their very existence. All except one. At the very end of the hall, apartment 707 stood apart. Its door was slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning from within. As he drew closer, a sound drifted from the room, a sound so out of place it sent a shiver down his spine. It was the faint, echoing giggle of a little girl, and then a voice, soft and sweet as honey, whispered from the shadows. "Come, play with me." Against every screaming instinct, he pushed the door open. The room inside was a time capsule of decay. Thick layers of dust coated every surface, and cobwebs hung from the ceiling like ghostly Yet, in the center of the room, a dining table was immaculately set for a family dinner. The plates were still warm to the touch, and candles flickered, their flames dancing in a non-existent breeze. His gaze was drawn to a collection of photographs on the wall. They wary old faded family portraits. But in each one, the faces had been violently burned away, leaving behind grotesque, blackened voids. All except for one. In the corner of a group photo, untouched by the phantom flames, was a face he recognized with a sickening lurch of his stomach. It was his own. His heart began to pound against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the suffocating silence. The air thickened, and a low, indistinct whispering started, seeming to come from the very walls around him. It sounded like 100 voices, all murmuring at once, their words just beyond his understanding. A sudden, loud asterisk, ding, asterisk, from behind him made him jump. The elevator. His escape, Espuna around his eyes locking onto the open doors, a beacon of safety in this nightmare. But the elevator car was empty. There was no one there. As he backed away from the room, stumbling toward the light, the whispers grew louder, clearer. The 100 voices merged into one, a chilling, unified chorus that spoke a single, terrifying truth. He never left the 7th floor. The whispers swirled around him, growing into a deafening roar, and then sudden, complete silence. The next morning, the sun rose over the city, casting its warm, indifferent light on the old apartment building. The neighbors on the 6th and 8th floors would later tell the police they heard terrible screams that night, but they dismissed it as just another sound of the city. The landlord called in a repair crew to check the elevator, complaining of a malfunction. When the technician opened the control panel, he found something strange. Wires had been rearranged, circuits bypassed. The button for the 7th floor was gone. The elevator now skipped seamlessly from 5 to 8. The 7th floor, once again, was gone. But some stories don't end day Hoostwaite, and the tenants who have lived there the longest know that sometimes, if you ride the elevator alone, late enough at night, it still stops there. It still opens its doors, offering a silent, patient invitation. So, let me ask you, if your elevator stopped on a floor that wasn't supposed to exist, would you have the courage to step out? Let me know your answer in the comments below. And if you crave more stories that lurk in the shadows, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss our next tale, The Mirror That Remembers You. Thank you for listening. Stay safe.